past week, I had a capital murder case dismissed. Probably had 3 of those dismissed in the last year.
You say that with ease.
Well, yeah, but that was a 2-year project of work. It started out with video analysis. It went into officer background. There's a lot that goes into it. And so, what people care about when the pie comes out the oven is it good? Right. And so the end result was a dismissal. But you don't always know that, when you start out in a case. But you start out, at least with the belief that this case needs to be scrutinized and looked at closer. And the more that you do that, the more that you find. But that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, and it's not easy. And so the easier path is just to let the person get prosecuted.
Right. Well, you've done an excellent job, and that's why you are the attorney for judges and attorneys when they have issues and they need legal assistance. Let's talk about some of the work that you've done on the other side of the coin when you were appointed as a special prosecutor for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, working under Craig Watkins when he was in office. Let's talk about your work to free the innocents and the work that you've done on a national level with Barry Scheck and the Innocence Project.
Right. So, in 2014, or I guess it was 2011, I was asked by Craig Watkins, who was the first African-American elected district attorney, to come in and supervise the Conviction Integrity Unit. That was a unit that was looking at wrongful convictions. Dallas County had a high number of cases where you could demonstrate that individuals were wrongfully convicted. And, depending on your age, there was a time when it was just understood the job of a prosecutor was basically just to prosecute. We came in with the notion that the job was actually to see that justice is done. You and I had actually grown up seeing the prosecution of a man named Linnell Jeter. That was on 60 Minutes. Joyce Ann Brown, also on 60 Minutes. So it literally grew up in Dallas County, seeing people wrongfully convicted and experiencing injustice in the criminal justice system, not personally, but seeing our friends prosecuted, seeing what was going on. There had not been a time period prior to that in the state of Texas where African American was in the position of district attorney and had that power and authority to use those resources to correct past wrongs. And so I had the opportunity to do that. And I think I exonerated more people in a shorter time frame than anyone in the country. But that was by that time I was board certified. I had been board certified for 12 years. I had a thorough understanding of law. And frankly, I understood the type of misconduct that had frequently been engaged in the community. So you're finding it in the transcripts. You're able to put that information together. Again, it's an involved process. Certainly getting to work with Barry Scheck and the folks at Innocence Project in New York was a huge deal. Not only also Innocence Project of Texas. It's not a undertaking you can do in essence on your own, but you have to have a whole lot of knowledge to be able to get a person out of prison. And so that's probably, one of the biggest accomplishments in my professional career. I'm still in touch with many men that were wrongfully convicted that served time in Texas prisons that shouldn't have. And it's an honor and privilege to see them go on with their lives. One of them this week, Richard Miles, he's got Miles of Freedom, was nominated for one of the Men of the Year for CNN. And he, with his organization Miles of Freedom, after he was exonerated, he created a prison reentry ministry, and he still is implementing that. They'll be celebrating the 10th year.
All right, y'all. Before we continue,
Altruist Home Care Solutions is one of the top accredited home health care agencies servicing North and East Texas. With over 25 years of caring for Texas families, Altruist's network of staff has become the preferred provider of physical and occupational therapy, wound, post-surgery, and primary care within the comfort of your home. Altruist Home Health Care works in conjunction with you, your loved ones, and your primary care physician to provide stellar care with honor and integrity. For more information on our services, visit our website, www.altruisthhc.com, or call us at 214-328-8600. Now back to the show.
I was at his wedding when he was first married, to after you come out of prison, you reintegrate into society. Christopher Scott, Claude Simmons, Kirk Blood. I could name a lot of folks, but when you talk about a name, you can associate a number of years. Ricky Wyatt, 33 years in prison, shouldn't have done it. So,
right, years that they can't get back.
Right. Texas, and we push legislation to increase compensation for wrongful convictions, and Texas leads the nation in what exonerees receive, but you still can't get it back.
Right.
And I'm proud of being able to push to ensure that their compensation was more than the other states, but I don't know that it'll ever be enough.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you're still involved a little bit. Tell us what you do, even though you're out of office. What do you do?
I'm on the advisory board for the Innocence Project in Texas. I served on the board for, I believe, 5 years. And I regularly speak on wrongful convictions, prosecutorial misconduct, police misconduct. This past year, the Richard Miles Act was actually passed. We pushed for legislation in support of body cameras. So a lot of things that you might take for granted today, you might not know all the things that you see on body camera, you have to understand. There was a time when we didn't require police to wear body cameras. And what happened was just whatever their words were. And that was with respect to use of force, that was with respect to searches. Cases like George Floyd, certainly through body camera, but all through cell phone footage. Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, you could name lots and lots of cases where if we hadn't changed our method of documenting what our police were doing, we still would be thinking there wasn't anything wrong.